I'm Damian Wallace, and the Federal Fair Housing Act was passed on April 11th, 1968. It covers most housing transactions like rental, sales, lending, insurance, appraisals, and inspection. The Act also protects personal characteristics, including race, color, religion, national origin, sex, meaning sexual orientation and sexual identity. Familial status, meaning families with children under age 18, expecting parents, foster children, and disability that is physical, mental, and intellectual. Follow up as Katie McLeod and Manuel Santiago demonstrate what it is like to discuss a request for reasonable accommodation in private rental housing.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, may I please speak with Mr. Manuel Santiago?
Good afternoon. This is Manuel.
Hi, how are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Good. My name is Katie McLeod. I'm the director of the enforcement calling from the Fair Housing Rights Center in southeastern Pennsylvania. It says here that on August 29th, you spoke with a Hillary Jones who conducted an intake. You also reported that your housing provider refuses to consider changing your rent due date. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, Mr. Santiago, you explained that you receive Social Security disability income, and the Social Security Administration issues your payment on the 20th of each month. If this is a good time to talk, can you please explain about your request to pay your rent on the 20th of each month?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I don't know why my property manager keeps charging me a $25 late fee when my disability payment arrives on the 20th of each month. I can't control when the government releases the payment into my account.
See.
Meanwhile, the monthly fees are adding up and contributing to stress, and I have less money every month.
Right. I'm so sorry.
Manuel is one of the millions who receive federal Social Security disability income, known as SSDI, because he has at least one permanent disability that prevents him from working any or enough hours to earn a living and pay for housing.
Last month, I told the property manager that I received $1,310 from my disability check, which I get on the 20th. When I'm hit with the $25 late fee, I mean, I don't think it's fair.
I listen, I'm with you. I don't think it's fair either. And listen, in your opinion, can you please explain for me why you feel as though the late fee is unfair?
Yes. Okay. Are you aware that the federal government makes my monthly payment based on the first initial of my last name?
Mm.
So to the property manager, $25 is not a big deal, but to me, it takes away from other expenses that I have to pay, like food,
Right.
phone, electricity, things that I need to feel human.
Listen, I totally agree. Uh, I'm frustrated listening to you. I'm so sorry, Mr. Manuel.
Yes, listen, because the disability check is my sole income, it's all I get.
Mhm.
But to make matters worse, my property manager believes that it's my responsibility to budget better. But how can I budget better when the cost of living is so high?
Mm. I can't really imagine what you're going through. And I understand why you're so disappointed in the property manager's response to consider your request to change your rental payment due date.
Finally, thank you. I feel like you understand. Listen, I am willing to make my monthly rental payment, but I can't pay it on the 1st, I can't pay it on the 5th, but I can pay it on the 20th when the federal government releases the payment, into my account.
Right, right. Well, it sounds to me like you need a reasonable accommodation to pay your rent on the 20th of each month.
Yes, I do. That's absolutely right. But what is reasonable accommodation?
Okay, so a reasonable accommodation is the technical term for request to change rules, policies, and any practices or services in your housing. According to the fair housing laws, you do not have to use the term to make a request. Instead, your property manager is responsible for understanding what you're describing, but a reasonable accommodation can be made verbally or in written form.
Okay, I mean, I did not know the law, but that sounds fair.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Santiago, I definitely appreciate you for expressing to me your housing experience with your property manager. But I believe by working together, I can send a request for a reasonable accommodation letter to your property manager on your behalf. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. I'm feeling so much better.
Good. I'm
Listen,
glad.
thank you.
And my
Thank you for
pleasure.
listening.
And lastly, do you have at least 30 minutes to participate in a complaint intake?
Yes, absolutely, I do.
Okay.
Nearly 250,000 Pennsylvanians are living with a disability. Also, disability is the number one fair housing complaint in Pennsylvania and the nation. Federal, state, and local jurisdictions protect disabled persons in private and public rental housings. And protections also extend to homeowners during lending, insurance, appraisal, and inspection transactions. Regardless of the type of housing transaction, the public has a right to request reasonable accommodation to change rules, policies, practices, or services. Housing counselors are frontline professionals that can hear requests for reasonable accommodation while interacting with the public to ensure the public realizes their fair housing rights. Know that discrimination can occur during application, tenancy, and termination. The next time you believe the public needs reasonable accommodation or another fair housing service, contact your local fair housing partner for assistance. Thank you, because your work promotes housing safety and wellness.